Easy people, welcome back to my channel at Big Steve MCFC. And it doesn't get bigger than this. The Champions League semi-final. Manchester City versus Real Madrid. Etihad Stadium for a place in Istanbul. So tonight, I'm joined by my friend Luke. As you know him from MCFC, lads. How are you doing, Luke?
Good, cheers, Steve, yeah.
And I'm joined by European royalty. None of this plastic royalty that they all claim to be on Merseyside with the 6 European Cups. I'm talking about a team with 14 European Cups. I'm talking about the boys from Let's Be Real podcast. We've got Farouk, we've got Mo, and we've got Sunaid. Welcome to Manchester, boys. How are you feeling?
Yeah, man, it's good to be in Manchester, man. But then we're already feeling the shitty weather, man. But then it is what it is. Right? Something's gotta give.
I would share the same sentiment. The weather is a downer for sure.
Yeah, you can't be slagging our weather. It's one thing that's unique with Manchester is the weather. But listen, boys, last week I came on your podcast, the Let's Be Real podcast. For anyone out there that's not checked it out, go and check it out. Let's Be Real podcast. These 3 guys just starting out in the YouTube world, Real Madrid, talk good football. We had a great chat last week about the first leg. But this is it. I was saying last night, as a Manchester City supporter, I'm happy with the 1-1 draw back to the Etihad. I mean, you guys are Real Madrid. You tried telling me the other day you was underdogs, but I'm not wearing it. So I'll start off with you, Farouk. Farouk, was you happy with the 1-1 draw, or did you think Real Madrid needed to come to the Etihad with a win?
Actually, before the tie, I would have said yes. Like a 1-1 draw was perfect, and I will take that back to the Etihad because I kind of believe that those magical stadiums don't necessarily work on us, honestly, considering who we are. But after watching the game, I kind of felt disappointed because I felt like there were things that could have been done better. Like City were there for the taking, and we could have gotten an advantage in the tie. So yeah, after the tie, I was kind of disappointed actually.
What about you, Mo? I mean, you think City did well to come away with the draw, or are you disappointed you didn't finish City off at the Bernabeu?
I mean, in the immediate aftermath, I would be wrong to say that I wasn't disappointed. I was definitely disappointed because I felt that we could have gotten more, or maybe not conceded that goal, because I think Camavinga makes a mistake and De Bruyne takes advantage of it. But before the game, like we talked about on our podcast like last week, I told you that although City might plan to sit deep and stuff, but Real Madrid are not going to take the bait. So that was it. Before the game, the result, if you had told me it would be 1-1, I would have taken it. But after how the game turned out, I was disappointed. But now, 1 week later, I'm like, okay, fine. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
And what about you, Sunaid? Sunaid, are you feeling that Madrid should have come to the
See, let me put this straight, yeah? So City were actually super confident in the first half. They were knocking it about. But as soon as things started going the other way, they got a bit rattled, I'm not going to lie. You boys were actually rattled. So like what Farouk and Mo said, I felt like it was a missed opportunity as well, which we failed to capitalize. If Benzema was on form, the way of form he showed all throughout last season, he should be scoring at least a brace. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, rattle's a bit stronger word. I don't remember any of our players rolling around on the floor near the touchline as if they'd been murdered. Do you, Luke? You know what I mean?
Nah,
we wasn't the ones screaming and shouting like that. What do you think, Luke?
Embarrassing, that.
What do you think, Luke? I mean, as a City fan, I was happy with the draw. To go to Real Madrid, to come away level, 0-0 as it is, and a straight shootout at the Etihad Stadium, the record at the Etihad Stadium City's got, Luke. You've got to be happy with that, haven't you?
Yeah, well, half-time, 1-0 down. Not really done amazingly in the first half, but I'd have thought 1-0, I'd have taken the 1-0 loss, to be honest with you. Half-time, away. Last year, we've lost 3-1 there. I thought 1-0, it's not a bad result. Just got to score then at the Etihad, get back into it. But the fact that De Bruyne scored that goal, especially when they had a little bit of a spell as well, it could have gone maybe 2-0. 1-1 for me is a great result. It just turns that 2-leg game into 1 leg at the Etihad with the unbeaten run, with all the wins in a row, etc. I'm buzzing with that.
Yeah, and the way I've seen it, I think the first 30 minutes over in the Bernabeu, I think City had a lot of the ball. We did okay with it, but we didn't really create an awful lot. I think that Ancelotti got Madrid to sit back a little bit. They let Diaz and they let Akanji and that have the ball. They knew that they couldn't hurt them. And then soon as the ball got zipped into Gundogan or De Bruyne, then Madrid started to press. I thought Camavinga playing at left back out of position he had a good game against Bernardo. Didn't think that Bernardo had any joy. And I just thought it was a very tactical game. I mean, you lads from Madrid, you've told me about Ancelotti's tactics and you've sat deep against teams like Shakhtar Donetsk and that. But I think personally, you know, if Madrid are at the Bernabeu in the semi-final, they've got to try and beat Man City there. I think they're risking it coming to the Etihad. I think they're going to get something tomorrow. I don't know about you.
The thing is, Steve, see, the 1-1 draw, like what Luke said, yeah, it is a fantastic result for City, yeah, 100%. Nobody's going to deny it. You know, you come, you visit the world, the European champions, and basically, you know, nick a draw where it could have, you know, gone fully, fully the other way, where we could have scored at least 2 goals. It is a good result for you. But in my humble opinion, yeah, like if we actually took a 1-0 lead to the Etihad, probably, I'm just saying, yeah, like Don Carlo is a man who has seen like over 2 decades, you know, of professional football, yeah. But a 1-0 lead probably might have tempted him to set up a bit more defensively and kind of, you know, take it one step at a time in the second leg. You know, like giving us a false sense of security and something to hang on to. Now that it's 1-1, you know, it's basically reset. You know, the whole thing is reset, and we go from square one again. But in my opinion, Carlo's tactics, the way we set up conservatively in big games, is purely, like I said yesterday, Steve, is down to our humility. We are not tone deaf, Steve, and that's what makes us great, in my opinion.
Well, we'll see how great you are tomorrow when you come to the Etihad. That's all I'm going to say with that. But I just feel that Real Madrid didn't give City a lot of credit. I think they thought that they were going to blow us away. Last year, over 2 games, we were the better team. But
Steve, you're getting it wrong. We showed you guys humility, but in phases of the game, I thought City didn't show enough humility. I didn't think so.
I mean, after last year, when we let you back in at the Etihad, we scored 4 goals. You scored 3. We let you back in. We couldn't finish our dinner there. We went to the Bernabeu. We were minutes away. You shown us about naivety. I admit that we was naive. I just thought this was a polished performance by Manchester City. I thought it was a performance where we've learned our lesson from last season, and we didn't go gung ho and get excited and let Real Madrid score 2 or 3. We sort of sat back and said, look, you're Real Madrid. You know, you got your noses in front. We pegged you back. Let's see what you can do. And I didn't feel that Benzema had a couple of chances. But other than that, you know, Vinicius Jr., when he came inside, he scored a goal. When he was trying to go the outside, doing rainbow flicks, Kyle Walker dealt with him all day. And I look at Real Madrid's team and I look and I think Benzema, Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr. And that's where I only see the threat coming from. I do, I'll be honest. I don't know if you guys are going to change the team tomorrow or Valverde's going to play. Or
So, Steve, guys like Luka Modric, who has won 5 Champions Leagues, Steve, yeah? 5 Champions Leagues and a Ballon d'Or like 3-4 years ago. Toni Kroos, who actually won 1 with Bayern, then came to us, won 3 back-to-back. You're not afraid of those guys, yeah?
No, listen. Let's look at Modric. Look at his age. Look at him in the midfield. You know, he's not that Luka Modric anymore for me.
Oh, okay.
He's very simple now, nice and easy on the eye.
More of that, please.
Steve, he's like Pirlo. He's like Pirlo when he was close to retirement. He's got the quality, but he's not.
He's close to retirement, Luke. Yeah, so you definitely think he's going to hang up his boots this year or next year? Yeah,
might retire him tomorrow, hopefully. I want to anyway.
I told you this last night, guys.
Luke, you're too young, man. Honestly, you should have been watching football for a lot longer.
I was there last year. I saw us lose 3-1. Don't worry about that. Let me tell you now, right? Last year you turned up at the Etihad, and if I'm honest, you've got an amazing result. You got battered. If I'm honest, you've had Fernandinho at right back. We had an injury crisis, and you've done very well. You got 4-3. Fernandinho got rinsed by Vinicius Junior. Laporte punched the ball for no reason. And I believe Benzema scored a pretty good goal for your first goal. We had about 100 chances. At 2-0, I watched the game back before. It's about 10 minutes long highlights on YouTube.
But that's what happens to Manchester City and famous Guardiola teams, Luke. You know, when you smell blood, you guys get excited. You guys are like, oh my God, this is happening. We are truly, truly putting these guys to the sword. But what happens? We survive the onslaught, and you know the rest.
Yeah, last year we're different. We didn't get excited last week. We were calm, we were cool. Like I said, you can say Man City were rattled. Your manager got a yellow card. Your player was rolling around.
Because the ball was out, Steve.
Listen. Your fans left early. And when we came out the stadium, there was no one left. So all the Madrid fans on the subway were telling me that they dropped it, that you're going to beat us at the Etihad. Last year, you all stayed behind and waited to rub it in when we came out. So if we're talking about rattled, the whole of Madrid was rattled last week by Manchester City, little old Manchester City. And
I mean, last year it was full time at the Bernabeu. This time it is just half time. So, you know.
Listen,
don't count your chickens too soon.
The whole of Madrid is going to feel the pain tomorrow.
Steve, Luka Modric, a couple hours earlier, he came out in the press conference and basically said, we feel like this is our competition. If a guy like him tells us that, do you honestly think we are rattled or we have nerves? Obviously, we got to respect the occasion. And obviously, the nerves come from the potential prospect of missing out on a final berth, you know, the chance to win the big years. Like, it's massive. So whoever goes out is going to be, you know, fucking rattled. But Steve, you got to understand that we don't fear anybody, right? Unlike you guys, we respect you a lot. Sometimes Manchester City, I've seen in so many big occasions, they don't show enough humility, man. I'm going to reiterate my point.
Actually, you know, the thing is this, right? I'm just going to, you know, throw this to Luke actually here. The point is, you know, last year we actually got away from the Etihad without even trying, you understand? We scored 3 goals without trying. The point is everything is on the line in this game, and that should make you scared, bro. Like, the point is without trying, we're scoring 3 goals, man. And you're doing your worst and you can only score 4 to our 3, man. I mean,
there is no other team better than us for the big occasions.
Let me put it this way. We're 26 games undefeated at the Etihad Stadium. We're on a 21-game unbeaten run, yeah? We're top of the Premier League. We're in the FA Cup final. Erling Haaland's broke every single record in English football there is to break. So if you think that Manchester City can only score 4, and you're going to score 3, then you're sadly mistaken. So this is what you fell into the trap. You fell into the trap that your manager fell into in the press conference before by saying Manchester City is going to score early and all this. If we're not falling for them mind games anymore.
In 2017, Steve, I'm going to refresh your memory. Yeah, in 2017, when we were up against one of the best Bayern sides, in the semi-final.
Forget Bayern, we just dealt with them.
2014.
Not 2014, 2017 also. And I think 2017 for the duodecima, Mo, for the two-peat. Yeah, when we were in the semi-finals, history was, you know, ready to be, you know, written again. And we dealt with the situation, man. It always, if it happens once, Steve, if it happens twice.
What happened in 2020, Steve? What happened when we played at the Bernabeu?
2020, I don't think we were at our best, let's be honest. Yeah. Rafael Varane, what he did,
I don't think
no explanation.
We had your 4-2 and we didn't even try.
I mean, look, you guys won based on Howler, man. Like, you guys won based on 2 defensive mistakes, man. There is nothing there, man. So it's I mean, the point is you have to create something, you know. If you can't create enough, you have to wait for a defensive mistake. That says a lot, bro. The point is we're coming.
Let me tell you this, yeah. Okay, so I've just told you what we're doing, yeah. And what you're doing is this: you've thrown the towel in the league to one of the worst Barcelona teams anyone's ever seen. Man United beat them. You just got beaten off Girona, who's one of our feeder clubs. So
don't take credit for Girona, Steve. Stop it.
Real Sociedad with David Silva, who's basically nearly in a retirement home, they beat you as well. But somehow you think you're coming to the Etihad in this great historic Real Madrid team, still living in the past, thinking you're gonna blow us away.
Living in the past, yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, if the past is 1 year, you know, it's not bad to live in it.
Full team, lads. We can't all rest a full team. We have a Premier League, a proper league to win. You know what I mean? We don't just give up and then concentrate on the Champions League like you guys.
Yeah, but that's Real Madrid. You know, we can switch it off and switch it on when we need to.
Steve, it's fine because Haaland still wants to go to Real Madrid, Steve. So in 30 years they might finally get him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you might get
I
him.
mean, whether Haaland comes or not, we might still win the Champions League.
That's the thing.
That's the thing, man. That's the thing, Luke.
Well, let's get back to it. Right, let's get back to it. We've had a ding dong. Right. Luke, tomorrow, the Etihad. I think it's underrated what people don't understand what's happening tomorrow, the way we're going to crank it up, yeah? For you, where do you think the game's won and lost tomorrow for City? Do you think City's got to be cautious and try and play out the game, or do you think we've got to try and crank it up and go for them from the off?
Yeah, well, as we said last year, it was one of those. We've had a few of them at the Etihad in the past. We've had that Tottenham game. We've had Monaco. We've had Real Madrid, where there's about 100 goals in the game and it's chaos. You can barely blink and you'll miss a goal. Do you know what I mean? I think if we can keep it quite tight, I think that's where the game's won. If we turn it into basically a boxing fight where there's goal after goal, that's where Real Madrid might pass more in than us. Do you know what I mean? I think if we keep it tight, like we did the away game, we're going to have the fans behind us, and you'd hope that first 10, 15 minutes, you can tell at that point that City are on the game, and if we're on the game, I think we'll have them.
Yeah, well, I'm about that myself. I think we've just got to go out there and do what we do, and I think the chances we created last year, we scored 4 goals, but we created 8, 9, 10 chances. We had Jesus and Sterling blazing it all over the place. I think with Haaland up front this year, I think it's a different animal. I mean, Madrid guys, I'll start with Farouk. Where do you think you win it? How do Real Madrid come to the Etihad and win it? Do you sit deep and get us on the counter-attack, or do you go and impose it and try and dominate?
Yeah, I mean, Steve, as you know, I've always said, since the beginning of, since we have been drawn, like, it's that we're not going to win this game. We're not going to win this game based on defensive actions, man. We're going to win this game just based on how we attack, honestly, because I feel like City are going to score. You understand? The point is, Haaland is too big of a threat. Like, even if you stop Haaland, there's going to be someone else there. So the key thing becomes this. Vini's going to ball. Is Benzema going to also show up? As Sunaid was pointing to earlier, like, if we even get 70% of what Benz was last year, I think we win this game hands down. Because I would just, counter what you said yesterday. You said, when City play at their best and we play at our best, City wins the game. I don't think so. I think if Benzema plays at his best, which is a Ballon d'Or winning best, I mean, yeah, City has a chance, but just a fighter's chance, I would say.
Mo, what do you think, mate? I mean, I kind of think Mo's a little bit more sensible and real. I think Mo deep down knows what's coming. Tell me, Mo, I can see it in your eyes. I feel like you know what's coming, mate.
No, I mean, I'm not as gung-ho as the other two, but, I'm a realist. I know what's happening. So for me, this is a game of transitions. Once Real Madrid get that ball to Vinicius, the ball's in the net, and Ederson is going to be looking back.
Steve, I think he's talking about when the ball went to Vinicius last time after it went out of play and he lost it and we scored. I think that's what he's talking about. Yeah, that's what happened.
But listen, boys, Sinead, Camavinga last time really impressed me playing at left back. I mean, I knew he was a good player. I thought they just sort of put him in a peg in a round hole there. But no, he was class. And Bernardo Silva this season's had a couple of really good fullbacks on strings, but he didn't seem to want to go at Camavinga. I think Camavinga was very aggressive and very, very in his face. And I think he was driving from midfield into midfield. He definitely created your goal. I know he gave a ball away for our goal, but he got injured the other night. Are you expecting Camavinga to play, or are you expecting somebody else to play left back?
Camavinga, I think 100% starts the game if he's anywhere near, like 60% fit. If it's lower, then we might see him from the bench. But like what you said, Steve, like
Camavinga is starting tomorrow.
Yeah, like most likely. But to kind of add up to Steve's point, what Camavinga brings to our side is a versatility. He can slot in at left back. In possession, he can, like tuck into the midfield. Sometimes, in the first leg, Modric and Camavinga and Vinicius were like swapping their positions all over the place. Like we saw Modric play left back, Camavinga, slot into LCM. The man can do it all. Like, he is a Swiss Army knife at just 20. And adding another Champions League is going to completely, cement his legacy at just 20 years old. So yeah, man, he's pretty good business, man. For 30 odd million, you can't go too wrong, yeah.
No, listen, he's a great player.
Mm.
Luke, you've heard these boys here; they're getting a bit cocky now. What does City do with the Bernardo situation? I thought Ilkay was a little bit sloppy in the Bernabeu, and he played the full game against Everton on Sunday. I'm thinking, does Pep put Bernardo in the middle, and does he play either Foden out wide or does he play Mahrez out wide? Because I think Mahrez against Camavinga, I think Camavinga might bully him a little bit because he's not that physical. But I feel like Phil Foden might have a little bit of a chance against him. What do you think, Luke? Would you change that?
I think Bernardo. I think it's going to be pretty much the same team we started the first leg with. Really, whether we approach the game in the same way, I'm not sure. But I think Bernardo starts on the right. I do think Foden probably starts on the left, or Grealish on the left. But it's going to be an interesting one because last year Foden did really well, but he couldn't quite put the chances away. And I think maybe might, as he's been injured, he's had appendicitis and so on, he might not quite make the team. But I definitely think Bernardo will probably start on the right.
Nathan Ake obviously been outstanding this season. Nathan's not going to play. Akanji came in at left back. I think a few City fans in the Bernabeu were worried about Rodrigo against Akanji. Farouk, is Rodrigo going to start the game for you, or will he maybe come on late in the game?
Actually, that's the dilemma that's out there, because you could see like last year in our Champions League run, if you could recall, like the team that we had the most, was the impact we had off the bench. That was a game-changing thing. Even in the ties against Chelsea, City, those were the impacts we could see. But right now, Rodrigo has kind of grown into a stature that he's almost too good to be benched. You understand? So the question is now okay, if you play Rodrigo, who's going to be your impact off the bench? But the news coming out of the of the Madrid press is that Carlo is going to go with 4 midfielders tomorrow, and Rodrigo is going to be an impact sub. So, yeah, man, that's it's looking like it's going to be just an overload on the left wing. So like it's just going to be an empty space on the right where we have a midfielder like Valverde playing as a midfielder / a winger. So there's not going to be too much threat on that side, I would say. I mean, just that's how even you define the word threat, as at least in comparison to what Vinicius is. So I think it's going to be more of towards the 60th, 65th minute. Trying to bring Rodrigo on to, give a bit of directness, facing Ake or whoever it is that plays, in that position eventually.
Carlo clearly saw that in the first leg. We had no plan B from the bench,
But you know what Carlo said today in the press conference? He said that, last week he said Rudiger is going to be starting. Today he comes in the press conference and says, I thought you were talking about Rodrigo, so Rodrigo is going to be starting. So you can never tell with Ancelotti. Yeah?
What do you think, Mo, about the back four? What's going to be your back four against us tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think you were talking about Camavinga as left back, but I don't really think he's going to be playing in the defense tomorrow. Tomorrow, he probably fits into the midfield, and the back four is going to be Alaba, Rudiger, and Militao alongside Carvajal. You have been focusing a lot on what you do from the right, but I think your best chances will probably come from the left, because Carvajal and Valverde will probably be isolated. So I think that's the point where City can attack, and that's the point where Madrid has to defend well.
And Sinead, we spoke about the centre-back situation, and when we mentioned Militao, you wasn't overly keen on Militao, am I right? Is he Madrid fans not overly keen on him?
The only thing that kind of makes me doubt Militao is his form leading up to this semi-final. Like in the past couple of weeks, he has been a little erratic, but he has been the best centre back in the league, along with Araujo for most of the season. So he has shown us even last year that despite being so young, he has a level of composure and this and like a certain level of street smartness to the way he deal with things. So his experience and his composure, I think, is very much needed. But if Carlo doesn't, play Camavinga at left back, it's difficult for me to drop Rudiger and Alaba. The combination was so effective against Haaland, and yet Militao is our best centre back this season. It's honestly, that's why I think Carlo earns his big bucks, because I'm a mere mortal. I can't seem to make a decision, if I'll be honest, Steve. I rate Militao very highly, but yeah, his form as of late has been a little iffy.
And Luke, we've got the ginger fella in midfield, Kevin De Bruyne. We know that he hates Courtois because Courtois nicked his bird. So we know that he hates him with a passion and he always wants to get one past him. But I think tomorrow the key is going to be Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri. I think Rodri's got to make sure he gets a grip in the midfield, doesn't let Real Madrid overrun us. And I think we've got to find a way of getting Kevin on the ball. Even if they press, we've got to get Kevin into them pockets because for me, he's the only one that can free Haaland. We found out when other people got the ball, Haaland barely has a touch, but Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland with a link-up. I mean, how do you see it going, Luke, with them two? Do you think Kevin's going to decide this tomorrow or what?
Yeah, well, I think for starters, I think De Bruyne dodged a bullet a bit with that woman, to be fair. But when you look at the game, yeah, I think De Bruyne is definitely a key player. He loves getting a goal against Madrid. I think it's the ref for me. We saw De Bruyne, Casemiro last year, obviously now at United. He's axed De Bruyne down a couple of times. We've seen Rudiger in his times at Chelsea smack De Bruyne in the face and get away with it. And I think it's going to be fine margins. And if Real Madrid we saw them take out Gundo. If that was intentional or not, we don't know. But it's the early decisions. Sometimes the dirty fouls have to be made if you want to win a game. It's part of the game. But I think for me, I want to see De Bruyne and Rodri playing a full 90 minutes without getting taken out, to be fair. But
I mean, there's a lot of talk about the refs, if I may say, but the fact is, Rodri got a lot of fouls in the Bernabeu, and Bernardo, straight up,
Real Madrid fan
he hit Camavinga on the Achilles and still got away. So the ref, so much talk about the ref.
Steve,
I don't really understand
I'm
it.
pretty sure Casemiro had never been sent off in his time at Real Madrid, and he came to the Premier League where there's no bent refs, and he's had about 3 red cards and about.
But you didn't get the bent refs at the Bernabeu, right? You got the goal out of a ball that went outside. So
yeah, well,
second phase of play.
The thing is, you can talk about refs all day long.
Yeah. The standard of refereeing in the Premier League is atrocious, mate. I don't understand.
For you. Sometimes it shouldn't just go for you.
The ball went out, but you got it back straight away and then lost it. So, I mean,
I didn't expect this from Steve, because Steve has seen it all, done it all. So for him to actually undermine the importance of dark arts in big matches, I don't get it.
No, listen, I get the dark arts. And when I go to the Bernabeu, I fully expect the dark arts. But all I'm saying now is, we can do our own dark arts. So tomorrow, when you get slapped, don't be whinging and moaning because certain players are.
The guys who are going to be doing the dark arts are like people like Akanji, yeah, and
you guys don't have the personnel for that. I mean, that's it. Like,
maybe Ruben Diaz, yeah, that's a slight possibility.
You've not seen Ederson get about 600 yellows this season.
Ederson is one of the biggest shit houses you ever lived.
We saw how he fumbled the bag, man. 2 minutes to go, bro.
Well, listen, I'm telling you.
But there's too much ref talk for a game that's going to be, completely elite because of the
ref is the Polish ref from the World Cup, and I believe.
I don't rate him. He's shite.
But listen, I know Real Madrid over the years, you can't not say that some of the decisions that you guys get.
Steve, come on.
I'm telling you, man. Seriously.
We're not going to do this, yeah?
No,
you got to look at Barcelona. We're nothing. We're nothing.
And then your executives come from Barcelona, the same Barcelona that paid the refs.
Oh, yeah. Now I see. Now I see where the heat is coming from.
Hey, listen, we don't need the refs, mate. We'll do the talking tomorrow. You know that, innit? I can see the headlines in Marca tomorrow. Real Madrid cheated. The mighty Real Madrid. The referee. You can see all this.
I mean, the game is tomorrow, so by the time Marca comes out, the game would not have been played. So.
But I'm telling you, I can see it. Trust me.
They'll be printing it at midnight tomorrow, won't they, Steve?
Yeah, always the same. That Carnival, whatever he's called, at fullback. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I don't understand what that was about, to be honest.
Carnival won 5 Champions Leagues, Steve.
You only have to look at Rodri, sir.
Listen, Jack Grealish has got a well-known word in English for people like that, and it begins with C.
I'm surprised Jack Grealish has words.
Stefan Savic knows all about that word. And that's all that Carnival is.
You're going to need someone like him in your team, Steve. You guys don't have a Carvajal. Let's get that straight, yeah? You guys don't have it. You don't have that bite.
Do you understand how much Jack Grealish's hair can wind up a full country.
Yeah.
The whole of Madrid Atletico side last time were fuming.
Yeah.
You guys are soft down in Britain, bro. I'll be honest.
You watch tomorrow how many people get upset with Jack's hair.
I mean, that's right. I remember very well the game against Atletico. Like Grealish was one hell of,
Steve, we're soft in Britain, but Carvajal did about 800 rolls after nothing happened to him.
He does what needs to be done to get the upper hand.
Exactly.
By hook or crook, bro. He's a winner. Luke, you got to understand that. Respect that.
Do you know last season, in the same run where you beat us, right? We showed naivety against you and we got beat. I admit that. But what we did the game before you in Atletico, when we had to fight and we had to put up with all the dark arts, I didn't think Manchester City could do that. And we learned a valuable lesson that night because we give it them back. They started rolling around. We rolled around. Jack Grealish, Phil Foden, the substitutes, everyone was scrapping. And that day was a lesson, a bit of a Champions League experience that we needed. And I think that's what helped. And we got to the Bernabeu and inexperience cost us in the end. But I promise you this, watching this Manchester City team, me and Luke this season have been home and away, over 50-odd games. We go everywhere, and we're different this season. We're different. And when I said to you last night, I believe that your Real Madrid last season was better than your team this season. I honestly believe that. And we are a lot better than ours last season. So I'm expecting. That's why we're confident. It's not arrogance because we can't be arrogant.
I agreed with you on that. The last time we talked, the preview we did before the first leg, I said that City are better this season. They have learned their lesson from last season. But you have to understand the fact that Real Madrid can be completely shit in the league, but still, come up big for the Champions League. And this isn't something that happened just one time, two times. It's happened multiple times. We can finish 5th, 6th in the league and still win the Champions League. So it's going to be a good game. That's all I can say.
Farouk, you've been quiet there. I know you're analyzing.
Yeah, man. Just watching the back and forth, man. But actually, the thing I'm just thinking about Steve is that, the point is when the chips are down, like the thing is that we haven't seen, these players step up. When it matters the most. Like we can assume that, we can take the fact that KDB was injured in the final by Rudiger, so we couldn't, see that chance. But the point is we haven't seen these guys do it. So when you say like the team is better or the team is worse, actually, what happens with Real Madrid? That it doesn't really matter who plays. It's it's just a jersey itself. Honestly, like that's why when Bernardo was saying like the cross and these guys, where the guys who are winning. No, it's not that. I mean, Camavinga came, Rodrigo came, Vinicius came. How do you explain that? So honestly, Steve, it's not about the fact that someone left or someone came or something like that. I agree, City is better, but the point is at this stage in the competition, it's not about the best team. I will admit here and now, City is the best team in the world, in my opinion. But the point is, do we stand a chance? Are we going to win the game tomorrow? I totally honestly believe so.
Steve, you gotta respect what Farouk said as well, yeah? Because after in the extra time, I think after we did the penalty goal from Benzema when we went ahead, guys like Carvajal and Marcelo, who is like what 5'7", 5'6", they were playing centre back. And we saw the game out. No matter if we are playing home, away, that is a big feat. That's not normal.
As soon as we went ahead,
90 minutes there, we thought we would seeing the game out. When it got to extra time, we had no chance, man.
We didn't have anyone on the pitch, Steve. Yeah.
What I will say is, last season, watching Real Madrid last season, when you came up against Chelsea and things like that, the way you was winning these games, the way Benzema was, it just felt like it was written in the stars. When you see a football team in going through the gears and you think it's written in the stars, and I didn't think anyone could get near Madrid. If as a Madrid fan, you've got to admit we pushed it and we were 2 minutes away, but we fell short. Then you got to the final and you beat Liverpool. But I just think this City team has got what you had last season. I just feel like we've got this momentum and this rhythm, and I just feel that the fans this season are different, and I can feel something different in my heart, and I just think it's written in the stars, man. I think it's written in the stars.
Unfortunately, you guys are going to get heartbroken, man. I'm sorry.
Steve, on top of what you just said, right? I remember we were at Tottenham away, pretty flat. Beaten there. We were 8 points off Arsenal, no games in hand, 8 points behind, no games in hand. And we've beaten Arsenal. Everyone thought it was going to turn around. Fluffed a game against Forest. It's the same thing. 8 points. Since that game, we've won 12. I think it's 11 or 12 league games in a row. in that period, we fluffed a game at Leipzig, drew 1-1. The second leg of that game, we won 7-0. Haaland had 5 in an hour, then got subbed off. And we've just been like a machine since that point. All the fans go in. We had the game after that Tottenham game as well. We had them charges dropped on us. And everything since that point has just gone our way. We've not lost a game. We've won God knows how many games. And I'm with Steve on that. I think we're ready to go.
21 games undefeated, yeah?
So the thing is this, like, look, see, the thing is, we're talking about a City team that actually has won 18 games on the trot in the league. You understand? So it's not like, mad. It's not like this is, uncharted territory. Fine, like City is better. But like, I just feel like you can't use the fact that you've won, like you're undefeated in 21 games as, a proof that we're better this season.
Yeah,
I don't think so, honestly.
Real Madrid have played City 4 times at the Etihad and they've never won a game here. So how is that going to turn around against probably the best City team we've seen?
Yeah, man, I'm seeing a comment from Sophie Rosier. It says Real Madrid has never won when I've never progressed from a semi-final when drawing from the home leg. That's the point, man. Records are meant to be broken, man. And if there's anything we do, we take it personally as our personal mission to break records.
Last season after PSG, Real Madrid should not have progressed. Last season after Chelsea, the thing they did at the Bernabeu, Real Madrid should not have progressed. Last season after you had us on the rocks at the Bernabeu, we should not have progressed, but we did.
You've never won at the Etihad though. You've had 4 goes. Brentford got it in the second.
Okay, we have had 4 goals now. It was the 5th goal.
Well, listen, there's one thing for certain. You guys are coming with the chest. I expect it. We are backing down. We're a different animal now, Manchester City. We're not that team we was a few years ago. We was naive then. Yeah, we was inexperienced. We probably was a bit starstruck. But we've got our own superstars now. And I do believe that, there's big European nights to be had at the Etihad. We said it this season. We had one against Bayern Munich. We had one in the Bernabeu, although be it a draw for us to come back and let the tie be in our hands at the Etihad is brilliant. And I just believe tomorrow has got the makings of a fantastic game of football. I think it could be a magical night. All the Manchester City supporters that I've spoke to, we're doing a coach greeting. We're gonna crank it up a notch there. And Luke, something's happening to me.
Yeah.
Spend all my money on Gregson City. I'll
follow you everywhere.
You only got one song in Madrid, that fucking church chant. We got loads of them.
That one song is enough for City,
Drugs, Greggs, sharks, bananas, anything you want, we sing about a lot, man. We sing about a lot. But listen, boys.
You have to admire the English football fan culture. It's really amazing.
Listen, honestly, if you came to an away game with us and listened to some of the things that goes on, you won't believe it, mate. You won't believe it. We was in Madrid Square. We had inflatable sharks. We had bananas. We had speakers in the bars, and they were going mad to please because we had the DJ booth going. We had it was just mental, mate. But listen, we're on a journey, aren't we?
Steve, these lads would turn up at a petrol station, go and buy a Krispy Kreme, and they'd see the whole fucking thing.
The whole stand. We robbed the Krispy Kreme donut stand when we got to the service station. The full stand on wheels gets
the whole thing.
No, listen, lads. I appreciate you coming on because you're just starting out your podcast. You big fan base, Real Madrid. There's a lot of fan channels of Real Madrid. You guys have always been respectful of me. I've always been respectful of you. We've had a good bit of banter and all that. But we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. Farouk, give me your score prediction. Tell me how the game's going to be won and lost.
Okay. Let's go there then. I mean, as I've said, I do believe that the game's not going to be won in defense, or at least on our side. So I think, our offense, is really paramount. And especially, that transition that happens, when City loses the ball, you understand? The importance of the energy, the athleticism that both Camavinga and Fede Valverde brings to the park is really important. Hence, even, that's why it's really important that, Camavinga plays to full fitness tomorrow, because he had a knock at the weekend, actually, but they said he's fully fit. So I think that transition is going to be the key thing, because the point is, if we can catch City up on the field, especially Walker up on the field, because for me, I think he's one of the 2 defenders I actually think can actually deal with Vinicius Jr. So if we can catch them up on the field, I think Vini against John Stones, I think it's there is no match day. It's pure mismatch, I think, honestly. Vini against John Stones is going to be a very good one. So I think if we can, catch that, make that mismatch and, counter City's overload. So I do believe that we can win the game. So I'm just gonna go for a simple 3-1 victory. You know, we score, they score, we score again. They try to score one more. They try to score, and then in that chaos, you know, we find something and we just we push it through. Well, I think it's gonna be a really tightly contested game. City's gonna have tons of possession, and we're just gonna sit there, you know, like Tony Pierce's Stoke City, you know. But we're gonna get the job done.
So you're going 2-1. Mo, come on, Mo. Talk
Yeah,
to me,
for
Mo.
me,
Mo,
it's the same thing. Yeah, for me, it's the same thing. Immensely tactical, immensely tight. A game that will be decided by courage and mentality. So I'll probably go with a close game, 2-1.
Right, Sinead, come on.
Yeah, tight one again, maybe 1-0, 2-1, just like Mo. What Carlo said in the presser, you know, really, it really hit me, because he said we all know from the get-go that City might score early. And he basically said, I hope they score, you know, pretty early so that we have the time to actually react. And he was pretty confident that we are going to react, you know, once we go down, like we have shown countless times in this glorious competition over the years. I'm super confident, Steve. Honestly, I wasn't this confident last year. I was mad nervous last year, but what we showed at the Bernabeu, I think we can nick it. It might be super tight. It might be even going to extra time. But these guys, they don't. Nothing phases them, Steve. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No Sharks. No Guardiola. Nothing.
So what are you going for? 2-1.
2-1.
Luke.
Yeah, Steve, they might have jinxed themselves there. They mentioned Tony Pulis. We all know what happened when he was 2-0 up in 1999 in the 90th minute. And we know what happened to him. So maybe the Tony Pulis jinx has come in. I think we're going to win. I'm going to go with 2-1 or 3-1 City. And I think it's going to be a tight game. And I think even into the last minutes, like we did last year, even into the last minutes, the game will be open for both teams. But I think we're going to do it. I think Erling Haaland, they're underestimating him. They want to sign him so badly, but they're not.
I mean, come on, how can you underestimate Erling Haaland, man? Come on.
Acknowledging him enough, Steve. When he's doing all this to them, Steve, and doing his meditation sat on the floor at the corner flag. I think that's.
But Luke, you do know where he'll end up, right? Couple of years down the line, you can see it yourself now.
League in Istanbul on the 10th of June. That's what I think. So
yeah, he's gonna end up as a spectator in Istanbul, man, just eating some kebabs with the white shirt. Okay.
You know, Farouk can take him out.
Exactly, man.
Steve, I hope you're flipping this up for tomorrow.
I'm lapping it up, mate. Someone said I missed this. I missed your super chat, Mancunian way. Sorry, but listen, let me tell you, I'm going to go for Manchester City 4, Real Madrid 0. You're getting packed off back to Spain with Don fucking Carlo. Modric is getting sent back to the OAP home. Benzema's going to sign for Paris Saint-Germain on a free. And Manchester City going to fucking Istanbul on the piss for the week. We're going to win the Champions League. Come on, City. What are you saying about that, Real Madrid?
and then the alarm is going to go off and you're going to...
Come on, the lads.
More of that, please, Steve. More of that. I wish you luck, mate. Honestly, just you know, get enough fluids in you know, before you go to the game, yeah.
and then you know what, Steve, the alarm is gonna go up and you're just gonna wake up from your dreams, man.
That could happen. That could well be me waking up and eating my Weetabix, but you've got to let me dream, boys. You've got to let me dream, man. I'm on a charge with this football team this
You're
season.
up against this crest, Steve. Unfortunately for you guys, up against royalty, mate. Unfortunately.
You sound like a Scouser now. We need a pipe down, man.
Can I just ask you quickly, though? Can I just ask you something quickly before we go? Actually, you know, Luke was actually talking about, you know, like playing Bernardo or, you know, Foden against the left back. But don't you think like Riyad Mahrez is going to give you a more direct, you know, option, though? I actually was expecting, you know, more of a Mahrez kind of player on the wing. Well, I don't know what you guys think about that.
I mean, for me, I just think sometimes Riyad is hit and miss. When Champions League Riyad Mahrez is on form, he can be deadly, and we know that. But sometimes when he's up against an aggressive fullback that presses really hard, sometimes it's easy for Riyad just to turn back all the time, doesn't really go at him. But listen, Riyad Mahrez has proved me wrong a million times. There's a million times I thought he shouldn't play. He's played and dominated. I mean, Luke, I don't know what you think. Would you play Riyad on there?
I'm not sure, Steve. I think the away game last year, he got us our goal, but the home game watching that game back, he had a chance. He's in on goal.
He should have squared it, right?
2-0 up.
Yeah, should have
he
squared
should
the
have
ball.
put it across the box. And I think sometimes when you get the big chances and you're trying to retain the ball or score, sometimes it can get the better of him a bit. So again, yeah, you're the same as me, Steve. I've been wrong about him before, but I just don't feel this is his game, unfortunately.
Well, listen, boys, it's been emotional. We're 45 minutes in. Inter Milan are going against AC Milan in 15 minutes. So we're going to end the stream there. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Farouk, thanks for coming on.
Sir.
Mo, thank you for coming on.
Always a pleasure.
Likewise.
Luke, MCFC lads, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. He just got his plaque. So well done to
Big up MCFC lads. Yeah, man.
Listen, guys, your podcast, what's it called? Let's Be Real podcast. How many followers away from 1,000 are you? 100?
110, yeah.
Yeah, get him up. Get him up there.
Listen, guys, come on, we're City fans here. These guys are Real Madrid fans. We're definitely going to cross paths with these guys next year when they're crying about us winning the Champions League. So give them some followers and that, yeah? Let's get behind them and that and G it up. But listen, Blues, tomorrow night, whether you're going to the game, whether you're staying at home, whether you're in the pub, whether you're sat with your nana, your granddad, your dog, or you sat with your bird, or you're on your own. Let's get behind the boys in blue tomorrow. Let's make sure that we turn up. Let's make sure the positive vibes. Manchester City, one game away from Istanbul against the hardest team out there, Real Madrid. That's all from me. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Go and follow MCFC, lads. Go and follow Let's Be Real podcast. And I'll see you tomorrow at the Etihad. Good night.
Hala Madrid.
Madrid.